This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to take a look at the PlayStation Vita, Sony's second generation handheld gaming console. It's pretty cool. This is the Sony PlayStation Vita, or PS Vita. This is their second generation handheld gaming console, and my god, there's a heck of a lot of improvements since the original PSP, which came out in 2005. Well, 7 years is 7 years, and a lot changes. The original PSP was just a little bit smaller than this, and it had a much lower resolution display. It was not a touchscreen. This guy has a touchscreen now. You've got dual analog controllers. That's pretty unique, very neat. The back is also touch sensitive, so you can use that for gaming. You've got dual cameras on here. You've got a GPS, you've got a gyroscope, you've got a compass. You've got all sorts of new stuff here. What stays the same is the excellent controls that you've got here, which is a lot like a real game controller, PlayStation style. You've got your standard control cluster right here. As we mentioned, the dual analog sticks, really nice for gaming right here. Your select and start buttons, the PlayStation button, which basically takes you home no matter where you are, it brings you back to this launcher right here. Got your digital D-pad right here, stereo speakers, one here, one here. And these guys are your shoulder buttons in translucent plastic. It's a really gorgeous looking device, as you'd expect from Sony. Top here you can see we've got those shoulder buttons. This is where you stick in game cartridges, right in there. Teeny little guys. No more UMD, no more optical drive like the PSP. It's your power button, volume controls. Here we have the mysterious port. This is for some kind of accessory yet to be announced. Some kind of cable or something's going to plug in there. On the bottom edge, this is where you plug in your charger. Very compact charger, we'll show you in a minute. Your headphone mic jack, 3.5 millimeter. Right in here is your memory card slot, and yes, it uses proprietary memory cards, also very teeny, also expensive. We wish Sony would stop doing that, so does everybody else, but it doesn't stop them from doing that. Back here, here's your grip points. This is the rear camera, and this is touch sensitive, as I mentioned, so in games you can actually use this. And games are marked, so they'll tell you what they make use of. If they use the GPS, if they use the back controller, if they use the touchscreen, that kind of thing. And this one is the Wi-Fi plus 3G, and that's AT&T 3G. So this is your SIM card slot right here. Games come in boxes like this, and there's really pretty much nothing except for it's your little cartridge that sits in there. Pretty much you don't get manuals most of these games. If you get one that has online play, then you'll get a code card in there that gives you a code so you can play without having to pay to do so. There's a good selection of titles at launch, and this can also play PSP games. It's backward compatible, and you can access those on the online store. We'll show you. So, PlayStation Vita itself is going to be available February 22nd, but the 15th they launched the first edition bundle, which is what we have here. And then you get the 3G plus Wi-Fi model in there. Big old box. Top box just holds the PlayStation itself, and the charger comes in here. You get printed material, you get some cards for AR games, up to 6 of those, which are going to be available hopefully on the 22nd for the official launch of all models. A little getting started guide. And you get a 4 gig memory card, which sells for about 20 bucks otherwise. Now a 32 gig card is going to cost you 99 bucks, and a 16 gig card is going to cost you around 60 bucks. So these are expensive cards, and you pretty much do need one, even if you're playing mostly with game cartridges. If you want game saves, if you want to download anything from the PlayStation Store, games, movie trailers, anything like that, TV shows, you're going to need it. And the last thing is a pretty nice case. This isn't the kind of neoprene case I sell. This is a nice little hard shell case with a leather-like finish on it. Zipper. You can hold your game cartridges in here, put your gaming unit in there, nice soft stuff on the inside. So great for transporting it and really keeping it safe. This is what the charger looks like. Very long cord, very teeny charger. Good for about 5 hours of battery life, and the battery is not removable on this. And to give you an idea size-wise, and in terms of the controls and the button sizes, you can see it's a miniature version of this. This is a knockoff of the PlayStation 3 DualShock controller right here. So you get the idea. So the specs for this little guy are very impressive. First, let's talk about pricing though. You've got a couple of different options available. There's a 3G only version, and that one is $249. You can get one with 3G plus AT&T Wi-Fi if you want to do multiplayer gaming on the road and use the social networking features, stuff like that, Google Maps and downloading maps. That's $299. And the bundle that we showed you sells for $349. And it also includes the game Little Deviants in the box. So this guy has a 5-inch OLED display. That's organic LED. It's super colorful, really nice and bright. Although if you're in bright daylight, there's a lot of glare here. You're going to have a little trouble seeing the screen maybe outdoors, but still it's super nice black, lovely, lovely sharp looking screen. And high resolution, 960 by 544 pixels. This runs on a quad-core CPU. It's ARM Cortex-A9 family CPU, so it's pretty much equivalent to something like the Tegra 3 using the ASUS ePad Transformer Prime. Sony does not divulge the clock speed on this, but considering the PSP may do with up to 333 megahertz only, wow, it's amazing. This has a quad-core graphics processor as well. It's a PowerVR family processor. It's basically the same thing in the iPad 2 and the iPhone, only those are dual-core, this is quad-core. So this guy, I mean, hopefully Sony's not going to wait another 7 years to come up with a new handheld, you never know it, but this guy is pretty well future-proof, very impressive specs, and really this reminds me of the old Sony where they did all sorts of really neat cutting-edge things, and the price is not insane. This is around the same price as when the PSP came out. And you get things like, as I mentioned, you've got the compass, you've got the gyroscope, you've got the dual analog controllers, you've got this awesome touchscreen, you have a rear touchscreen, you have dual cameras. Now the cameras aren't there so much so you can take beautiful photos and share with your friends because the cameras are not that good, but they're mostly there for augmented reality, for playing games and stuff like that. Though you can use it to take pictures if you want. So let's take a look at the UI. As you can see here, we have a launcher with a bunch of applications that are pre-installed, and you just swipe up and down to see all your apps. These are all built in, and not all of them are here yet. Hopefully by the 22nd they will be, but you can see we've got the Welcome Park, which just introduces you to the device. You've got stuff for social networking, the PlayStation Store right here. Near is to find gamers who are near you. More social networking with your PlayStation Network buddies. Trophies that you've unlocked. Photos. Network operator, because in this case this one has AT&T 3G. The web browser, which we'll take a look at in a minute. Music player, the video player. Remote play. This is pretty neat. You can actually play the same game on the PlayStation, say you've got Uncharted 3, and then pick it up on this device. Any games you install are down here. Here's your settings. Content Manager to manage the stuff that's on here, and you've actually got Google Maps on board too, because this is both a GPS and a compass. Coming hopefully by February 22nd for the full launch, or soon thereafter, is Netflix and Skype also. Netflix would be absolutely cool on this. Skype would be pretty cool. You can use a wired headset with microphone, or you can use Bluetooth headsets with this device. This has Bluetooth 2.1 plus EDR. It does not support HID devices. That means no keyboards, no mice. According to Sony, it just does things like headsets, headphones, audio. Up here you can see we've got little teeny icons here, and this shows you what you've got running. We've got the home icon, we have the PlayStation Store running, we have Uncharted 3 running in the background. And this is your notification area. If you had any notifications, they would show up here, and you could tap it to see what they said. This lets you know about your wireless status. You can see our AT&T 3G connection, Wi-Fi when it's active, and Bluetooth show up there. Now for anything that's running, you see the arrow here, you swipe sideways. It was last in the settings application. And if you want to quit that completely, see that little peel thing? You just do that. Gonzo. And here's our PlayStation Store session. And my Uncharted 3, and all I have to do is hit continue to start with that. And if you want to go back home quickly, you just hit the PlayStation button. And it also has a secondary view, which is kind of neat, where it shows you everything sort of like a cover flow kind of thing. And these are actually the things that we're looking at right now on the device. Press it again, you go back to the standard view. So that's the UI. Certainly a big improvement of the cross-media bar, and made possible by the fact that this guy has a touchscreen. So let's take a look at the PlayStation Store so you get an idea of what games are available here. And it comes with its own glorious music. By the way, the device is always playing some music, but you can turn that off if you really don't want to hear it. But still, the apps themselves may have some, like this does. So we got a selection of PS Vita only games, PSP games that you can download, and then mini games for Vita and PSP. And then you can also check out videos. And we'll just look at videos for a minute. You can see we got TV shows, movies, and things that are on sale basically for $5 or less. So you can both rent and you can purchase movies on here, and being that Sony has Sony Picture Studios and all that kind of thing, the selection's pretty good. Just look at the TV. CSI, Desperate Housewives, Family Guy, you get the idea. It's a pretty good selection. Little back button there. And for movies, we've got a lot of pretty popular movies. Clearly this screen is pretty nice for that kind of thing, and obviously you're going to want, if you're going to get into this kind of thing, you want to get a bigger memory card, probably the 16 gig card. And if you want to do that, you just use the cable that comes with the charger. It unplugs from the charging brick, and you've got a regular USB connection here, and this plugs into the port on the bottom. So how do you get content on here from your PC or PlayStation 3? Use the Content Manager. And the device actually drives the content transfer, which is very interesting. So you'll control the stuff that you want to copy from the device. So you can see here you connect to a PS3 system, or you can connect to your PC. You can also use the PC for firmware updates. If you don't have a Wi-Fi connection for your device and you've downloaded it to your computer, you can actually transfer it using this. Now we've used that USB cable to sideload some content. We've downloaded the Content Manager. And it's interesting, the Content Manager on the device actually drives the transfer of stuff. You can also back this up to your computer, your Mac, or your Windows PC. We'll look at some videos that we've loaded. And it seems to play anything up to about 720p just fine and allow you to transfer it, and it plays MPEG-4 H.264 content just fine, which is what we have here. And you can hear the speakers. There's actually a reasonably good amount of stereo separation from the device. Gorgeous screen for watching movies. The Vita could definitely be your buddy on the airplane for movies and gaming. And now look at the music player. And we already have a tune going, so you can see right now here's continue to go into the application, but if you just want to quickly start playback in the background, you can do that without actually entering the application completely. This multitask, by the way, you can have several applications running. You cannot have two full PS Vita games playing at the same time simultaneously. That's forgivable and understandable. And you can't have the web browser running at the same time. It'll automatically close your game. Other than that, multitasking, definitely a go. So here's your interface. You can sort by album, artist, song, genre, that kind of thing. Shuffle play. And pretty basic stuff. We transferred from a Mac here, so we didn't get any album art. And you keep drilling through to get to what you want. And there's your playback controls. You can shuffle, repeat, all that kind of stuff. This also has a web browser built in. Obviously you can use that over Wi-Fi, and then you've also got that 3G option, and you can get bookmarks and JavaScript, but it does not do Adobe Flash, nor does it do HTML5 videos, so this is not going to be your buddy for watching online videos. However, it's a pretty capable web browser, beautiful screen, very sharp, easy to read. Got pinch zooming here. You can tap in and out to do the same. And it's handy for looking up stuff, you know, on game FAQs, walkthroughs, all that kind of stuff. And it actually works fine for general browsing the web, just not much for video playback. Speeds are pretty good. It doesn't do super duper fast on SunSpider JavaScript tests, but experientially it feels fast enough. I'll tap a link. Those page load times are pretty good. This is over Wi-Fi right now. Supports our page layout. Nice and colorful. You can see you get some checkerboarding while it's loading each section of the page. It loads it on demand. So it's not going to beat your iPhone or your Android device for web surfing, obviously, but that isn't its primary purpose in life. But it does a very good job actually of handling layout. And we've also got Google Maps on board. You've got your standard Google Maps, and you've got pinch zooming support. You can search for addresses and stuff like that. You can tap here to see where you are at the very moment. Get directions, place flags, bookmarks. So, pretty good basic support for Google Maps built in. Now I'll talk about the game selection. Look at Vita-only titles, and yeah, there are box games available in store already, but the nice thing is that if you don't really feel like going to the store, there's not a store near you, you can actually download and buy most of these games right here. The drawback is you don't have the game in a box, so you can't go and trade it in at GameStop or something like that afterwards. So here's our selection of launch games. Now some of these are still coming soon, they're not quite here yet, but we've got Asphalt Injection, Dungeon Hunter Alliance, which we'll show you in a bit, FIFA Soccer, F1 Racing, Hot Shots Golf, Little Deviants, Rayman Origins, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Virtua Tennis, Wipeout 2048, and there's a whole bunch more too, obviously. Uncharted 3, that's one of the biggies for this right now. Now anything that you do download or buy is tied to your PSN account, and you can use it on up to 2 devices that are linked to your account. And now, what you've all been waiting for, we're going to take a look at some games. First we're going to look at Uncharted 3 Golden Abyss. Pretty hot title, a lot of fun. I've been playing this through a couple of chapters myself, really enjoying it. Here we are using the analog stick to control him, and we're going to use the accelerometer in a minute to make sure he doesn't fall down. We cross this log. So you see right now we're using that analog controls, but we can also just tap right here to get him going. And if there's a rope, then we're going to use the back. So now I'm running my finger along the back here to get him to go down the rope. And you can use the right analog to look around. And you can see the graphics on this are simply stunning, really sharp. And the OLED display is gorgeous. The level of illumination here and contrast is just super. Built-in stereo speakers are pretty good for volume. You really want to use headphones unless you have a quiet environment though. And the controls in the game are very good, except for when it comes to shooting. The right analog controller is a little bit twitchy. I know people weren't too thrilled with the PS3 version of the shooting controls either until Naughty Dog made some tweaks. Absolutely great graphics, good controls, good story. And by the way, I find the controller size to be pretty good. I have very big hands. Now our head gaming editor would like bigger buttons on this, so try one out for yourself and see. Now we're checking out the RPG Dungeon Hunter Alliance. By the way, you can download a demo of this game on the PlayStation Store on the device itself. That's really a nice thing. I like that, being able to try out some of these things. But not every game does have a demo. Controls are very good in this. That's your basic Diablo kind of hack and slash thing. In this game I've got this little blue fairy that follows me around. I can double tap on the screen to have her give me help once every 60 seconds. So that's the PlayStation Vita, available everywhere February 22nd, or at least everywhere in the United States. And the bundle is available now if you want to get the case, the memory card, the Little Deviants game, that kind of thing. And overall, Sony has done a good job of keeping it relatively affordable at $249 for the Wi-Fi only version. Now, some of you might think that handheld gaming is dead. I don't think so. This thing is just a heck of a lot of fun. And you've got a much larger screen here at 5 inches. And beyond the serious hardware that's involved, because of course smartphones are getting pretty powerful too, the gameplay is just immersive. It's console quality gameplay, and that really does make a difference. You've got a game here that you can play for hours upon hours on end versus casual games on smartphones and the utter rampage of freemium games that we see on smartphones, where they're not really geared toward having fun anymore. They're geared to finding ways to make you spend 10, 20, or 50 bucks. So in that way, boy, I much prefer playing on this. The games are still about making sure that you have fun, about giving you excellent controls, a diversity of ways to interact with the device. And then beyond that, it does double duty. You're going to have Netflix on here. You've got, this is a very nice portable video player. Again, super duper lovely screen. And then you've got a couple of extras like Google Maps, Skype coming, that sort of thing, to give it a little bit more all-around functionality. It's also useful for those of you who have kids who are constantly hogging your iPhone or whatever it is that you've got and trying to play games on it, surf the web, do things like that, doing a little social networking. If you've got a middle schooler or a high school kid and you really don't want to give him a high-end phone just to play games, or her, then this is certainly a viable alternative. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review of the PS Vita, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.